Hello and welcome to episode 69 of the She Must Knit podcast. My name is Erin and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. We had a pretty good week. It's been a standard week, lots of library visits, lots of going out to the splash pads and parks and all that kind of stuff and keeping busy. But yeah, so it's Friday, it's the end of the week. I will say that I'm starting to really feel the challenge of getting stuff done while still staying out, getting out and staying active. It's been a challenge. So today we didn't go out too much. I have a lot of work to catch up on. If you placed an order during my birthday sale, it's coming. It's really hard to get stuff done when we have to be out every day. She has to be out every day. But it's the evening now. There's probably going to be lots of distractions in the background. Avery's in the other room listening to one of her shows. We've got the traffic outside. It's the summertime and we are on a motorcycle route, and it seems like every 3 seconds there's a motorcycle brigade going by. And then we also have a Mr. T on the table. We'll see how he does, but sometimes he can be troublesome, sometimes he's very good. But yeah, let's get started with the knitting. I didn't even bring a drink. It's over there by my desk. I will have some of it later. It's really hot today. We're supposed to be getting a thunderstorm, but it doesn't seem to be coming just quite yet. So what do I have for you today? I have a finished object, I have an almost finished object, and then I have a soon to be cast on. I also have the collection from the fabrics you voted on last time, as well as some new fabrics to vote on. So let's get started, and we are going to get started with my finished object, which of course Mr. T happens to be lying on. So one moment please. Okay, I managed to free them from his grasp, but I was able to finish my July Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. So I feel like I haven't worked on as many projects this week as I would like, but the projects that I did work on, I made a lot of progress on. So one of them is my July Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. I have finished the pair. It is well before the end of the month. I still have several days if I needed them. This is the first sock here. This is the second sock. You'll remember last week I mentioned that I had this little line here from not quite joining after the heel in the right spot. I haven't fixed this yet. I will get to it eventually. But yeah, I have these two socks. I love this color. This is the colorway Big Bang. Like I do in most of my socks, you may notice that I reversed the striping. So after I finished the first sock, I rewound my cake so that the yarn was going in the opposite direction, and then I did my second sock. So that's why the colors are the same. They're just in a different direction. I just really like how that looks with striping socks. For the pattern, this is now kind of my vanilla pattern. I based this on the pattern Jangles socks. I did that pattern way back in February and I followed the pattern exactly, and at this point I've kind of modified it slightly to fit my way of knitting, my preferences, and I can do it without referring to anything. So it's like the perfect vanilla recipe for me right now. What I do is I cast on with 81 stitches. I'd like a larger leg than foot, so I cast on with 81 stitches. I do a 2x1 rib for about 25 rows. Then I do stocking net so that the leg is about 5 to 6 inches. And then I start the heel shaping, which you can see starting here. You're basically increasing every other row until there's a certain amount of stitches between your two markers, and then you start decreasing here back to your original stitch count. Once I've done that and I've joined in the round again, I do additional decreases because I like my foot to be about 70 stitches. And yeah, I just continue on and then pop in a toe. So that is my vanilla recipe in a nutshell. If you're curious about this heel construction, I would encourage you to go check out the Jangles sock pattern, and then you can either follow it as is. I think hers also has some ribbing down the side. I've done it with the ribbing, I've done it with stockinette, I've done it with ribbing all over. I think my June socks, I did ribbing around the whole leg and foot. So once you understand the construction of the heel from that pattern, you can really customize it any way you like. It's a really good foundation pattern. And yeah, so my July socks are done. And there's several, like I said, there's several days still until the 1st of August. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna bring to the park with me and knit. Actually, no, I know what I'm gonna bring with me, but it's gonna feel very odd not having all the socks on the go that I usually have on the go. I might have to cast something on, even in addition to the project that I'm going to be talking about in a minute. So the next project I have to share with you is the progress I've made on Dennis's socks. So I'm making this pair of socks with some Perfect yarn, and last week I showed you that I had completely finished the first sock. I had knit this in about a week. The week before I showed you the itty bitty cast on, and then last week I showed you the first finished sock. And I am really, really enjoying this yarn. So the premise behind this yarn is that everything is kind of laid out for you within the yarn, the way it is dyed. There's a bunch of yellow yarn that kind of separates the two socks worth of yarn. So you pull out the yellow yarn until you get to this dark brown. You cast on your cuff, you knit till the brown runs out. When it changes to this patterning yarn, you start your leg. When it changes to the brown again, you do your heel. When it changes again, you keep doing your foot, and then when it changes again, you do your toe. And for the size that I made, so Dennis is about a size 9 men's, that worked out perfectly. I showed you last week how much of the brown I had left over in case you needed to make a bigger size, and I also showed you how much yellow yarn was between each of the socks worth of yarn. So like I said, I finished the first sock last week, and then I think I showed you the itty bitty cast on of the second sock. And I really think if we had been able to have a good park session today, there's been some days this week where we've gone to the park, we've been there for like 5 hours. I probably could have finished the second sock, but we were very limited today because I had to get some work done. So this is how much I've got done on the second sock so far. I think, like I said last week, I had just cast it on. I got this leg done in almost one day. I think Monday or Tuesday I got almost the whole leg done. The other day I did the heel, and then yesterday and today I've been working down the foot. And this yarn is just, it's so enjoyable to work on. I'm tempted to look at other Perfect colorways. However, I do have lots of sock yarn that I've put aside for Dennis, and I will say that it's not the softest yarn. This is truly like workhorse, that kind of rougher wool sock yarn. So it's perfect for Dennis's socks, but that's probably all I would use it for, Dennis and then some of my brothers who are harder on their socks. And I have lots of yarn for them, so I'm tempted to look at other colors, but I know I really don't need them. But it's just really, really cool how it works up. And you will see, comparing the two socks, they really do match exactly. I'm trying to line up the heel there too. You can see from the leg there, and then also where the heel starts, they are exact matches, like exact matches. So if you like your socks to be perfect matches, and you don't want to have to do any thinking, because there's really no thinking involved with using this yarn, this might be something to try. I have to say, like, the label has the picture of what the socks are going to look like, and they match exactly to the picture on the label. So I really, really enjoyed being able to compare my socks to the label. And then once I had the first sock done, comparing my second sock to my first sock to see where I was in the pattern and how much farther I had to go before the next like brown section. So it's like how much farther before the heel, and then once I got to the heel, how much farther before, you know, the toe yarn starts. And also I will say that I'm knitting these on 2.25 millimeter needles. I do think this yarn is maybe a little bit thicker in some spots, and also that might be one of the reasons why it is working up a little quicker, or seems to be. But because it's such a strong yarn, I'm not really worried about the wear on them. And yeah, I really am enjoying this project. I could definitely see finishing these over the weekend, and then I'm gonna have, like I said, I'm gonna have several days before August 1st where I can start my next Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. And so I'm very tempted, maybe I should start another pair of socks for Dennis, because that is one of the goals on my bingo card. It is to knit him 4 pairs. I only have 1 pair done already. This will be his second pair. So if I start another pair for him, that will be I'll be working on pair 3. So that might mean that I can knock that goal off much sooner than I originally thought. So those are the main projects that I was working on this week. I did also work on that red taffeta top that I had been working on that I showed you last week, but I really didn't put enough into it to really show you, and until I get to the point where I do the slit around the middle, it's really going to look the same. So I didn't feel like I needed to drag that out, but I will talk about the soon-to-be cast on that I'm planning. And some of you might be disappointed to hear this, but you know, it's just the way it is. Sometimes you just have to work on projects that you want to work on and not work on projects that you don't want to work on. And I have officially decided that the lace pullover is going to be no longer. I've already ripped out the one side that I was working on, so I think I had finished the back and I was working on the front. I've already ripped out the front and I will be ripping out the back shortly. Every time I kind of said, okay, I'm going to work on my socks for, Monday or Tuesday, and then, Tuesday night, I kind of like to plan different times where I devote to one project. And every time I would kind of pick out a time that I was going to devote to the lace pullover, I just didn't want to do it. Like, I just didn't want to do it. And I've decided that it's just not a project that I really want to work on. And I think part of it is I don't think it suits my friend's daughter as much as, I think it suits my friend's daughter's style in terms of what she would enjoy dressing her in. But having visited her several times recently and just seeing what she's into, she's 4 years old, she's into a whole princess, frilly, sparkly phase. I just don't think that that sweater is something that she would want to wear. And when they get to a certain age, they have opinions about what they want to wear. So I've decided to go in a different direction, and I'm actually going to be doing a pattern that I've done in the past. It's called Isobella by Cashmere Junkie, and actually if you go to the project page for the pattern, the very first picture is the test knit that I did for the designer, and you will be able to see an itty bitty Avery. I might just pop up a picture or two of the pattern here so that you can see, but yes, I did originally test this pattern when it came out. I remember it being a really straightforward but very wearable little pattern. The design elements are really nice. It's got the little flutter on the back, it's got the little flutter on the sleeves, and I think with all the dresses that my friend's daughter is really enjoying wearing right now, she's just really into, like I said, the whole princess dresses sparkly thing. This will be a very easy piece to kind of put over top of that and just layer over top of that for different seasons, especially in the fall and spring. It will be helpful, but then also in the summer when things are a little cooler. I just see it as a really nice layering piece. And I looked through my stash and I think I found something that will work. I've had this yarn for years and years and years and years. You know I love to use stash I already have, and this is what I'm going to try making it with. So this is some Willow Guppy, and it's a DK weight, which is what the pattern calls for. And I believe when I've looked up projects using this yarn, it will stripe. And I think with the way that the pattern is done, it's going to look really cool with the different striping going in the different directions and stuff like that. Now, this is very pink, and I know my friend appreciates when she doesn't get bombarded with pink things for her daughter, but her daughter likes pink. And I have learned from having Avery when she was very little, I was against pink as well, because you get so much pink. You get so much pink when you have little girls. But Avery loves pink, and the things that she reaches for the most and wears the most are the things that she likes, and she likes pink. So when I make her pink things, she wears those things, and those things get used. So I'm going to make my friend's daughter this little pink shrug with all the little frills and ruffles, and hopefully it will be something that she really likes and reaches for. And yeah, I think it will be a fairly quick project, and yeah, that's basically it. You'll probably see this cast on next week. You will probably not see the lace pullover again, at least in that form. I do really like that pattern, and I would like to make it at some point, but I think I just need to find a better recipient for it. I know I had said that I was going to use that project to kind of do a little demo on how I seam sweaters. I still plan on doing that. It just might not be with that project. So that will still come, but just not the lace pullover. And it's probably better because I did have to modify that to have edging so that I could seam it. So it might be easier just to do a different project that I don't have to do that with anyway. So that's going to be my new cast on, and you'll see that next week. You'll probably see maybe some new socks next week. Hopefully I'll have some progress on the taffeta top. We will see. It all depends on how much time I have out and about at the parks to knit and at the library, etc. So finally we have the collection for this week, and of course after I moved Mr. T off of the socks that he was on, he moved on to the collection, so I just had to move him off of that. He is still lying here. He wasn't too happy with me, but he apparently is dealing with it. Last time I had the vote, there was a vote between the manatee fabric and the hedgehog fabric, and the manatees got the most votes, so that's the collection that I did, and I was able to get 3 pieces from that fabric. So I got 2 wee sidekicks. One was just with the fabric as a whole, and then I was also able to get one with a contrast bottom. So 2 wee sidekicks, and then I was also able to get a regular pouch in the fabric. So 3 pieces out of that fabric. And then the vote for this week. These are both fabrics that you have seen before in past votes. I don't think they've ever been against each other, but they've been against other fabrics that have won. So I still think these are really pretty fabrics with some really, really pretty colors. And I did just get a yarn order, so I might be able to do yarn with this. We'll just see how my schedule goes. Like I said, it's so hard to get work done right now. But anyway, the 2 fabrics for this week's vote are the butterflies on the coral background. So I just really love this, and I've said it before, I love that mint contrast. And then the other one are these kind of like fancy tigers. So these fancy tigers frolicking through all the flora. But yeah, the colors in there I really like as well. So those are your 2 fabrics to vote on for this next collection. That is basically all the knitting that I have for you this week. I do have some little clips to share like I have been doing the last couple of weeks. I have some clips from Avery and the activities that she's done, and I think I'm also going to throw in a little clip. Right before I started recording, I had everything laid on the table, and Mr. T was on the table, and I had those Regia Perfect socks all ready to show you, and there is something in that yarn that he was really taken with, and he was just like loving all over them. So I took a little video of that because it was just so funny, and so I think I'm going to pop that in next, and then I'll do some little videos of Avery and her activities this week. And yeah, that will be it for this week. So I hope you have a fabulous weekend with lots and lots of crafting, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
My name is Avery, and I just came back from art club. Ew. And Mr. Sun's eyes are dripping. First, I'm going to show you Mr. Sun because, here's Mr. Sun over here with the eyes dripping, and here's Mr. Hudson that I've seen in Mummy's videos, and here's Mr. Pig. That the handle is not dry. And these are masks, and this is just a decoration. So thanks for watching. Bye. Hi, my name is Avery, and I just came back from, I think, art club. No, I don't. Art club, and I made these. First, this one. Does it look nice? And these are real shells. Giving you a close-up. And this was in the shell bin. And I could actually feel something inside this. And here's another one that I could play. But Mom. And I got these pom-poms for my LOLs that you saw at Christmas. And here's another one that's not dry yet, so I'm not going to touch it. And we hot glued the shell. Does it look pretty? Oh, let me just turn it around because that's supposed to be a sailboat and water and a seashell. Seashell. I'm trying to say what that is. Seashell. Seashell. Not seashell. I can't say it, guys. So, thanks for watching. Bye. Hi, my name is Avery, and I forgot to do the show on Wednesday, so I want to do it now. And on Wednesday, we were having nature club, and a nature came to the library and brought real life animals from the lake. And some were dead that died, but some were alive that we looked out. And there was a mosquito thing and a bloodworm that was red that I caught. And after the activity, I got some materials and made a little tiny turtle. And then I went to the park and then played, and when I came back, the turtle was kind of hot and melted. And I'm going to show you the turtle now. It used to be the cutest thing ever, but now it's not really. And I found one of the eyes today. And here it is without the eye. Let me poop that out. That's where I looked before. And just as you know, and if you don't know, turtles actually have little stubs as tails. And this one, I tried to make like it's swimming. That's all for this. So, see you next time. Bye. The eye says bye too.